Chosen one, if this found you, it means you're ready to receive what others were never meant to hear. The part of you that always knew brought you here. What if I told you they never wanted you to know the truth that stirs beneath their fear? You may have felt moments when rooms changed the second you walked in, or felt eyes on you without a name or a word. You have sensed a current running under life's surface, a signal that connects you to a larger plan. You were not drawn here by chance, but by the stirrings of a greater design that stirs your spirit. Your experiences matter. The doubts, the sudden chills, the unspoken pull toward meaning. They are not mistakes of the mind. They are echoes of your purpose. In this video, we will peel back the layers that keep these truths hidden. We will reveal how your energy speaks louder than any word and show you how to claim the power that has always been yours. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Stay with me as we unveil what they tried to keep hidden. Instant recognition beyond words. Have you ever drifted through a half-remembered dream where a voice whispered your name before dawn broke, and you woke knowing something ancient stirred in your bones? In that fragile twilight, you sensed a presence beneath the ordinary, the soft hum of destiny brushing your soul. That moment, fleeting yet profound, was your first invitation to the truth that your life has never been random. It was a gentle call to open a door you didn't yet know stood before you, promising to reveal the hidden architecture of your journey. There were days when confusion clung to you like a second skin, and you wondered why laughter felt like a foreign language, or why you saw poetry in shadows while others passed by without a glance. Perhaps you sat alone at a cafe, your cup of coffee growing cold, as you watched the world carry on around you, feeling both invisible and painfully exposed. These moments of isolation and unspoken longing were not flaws in your spirit, but clues to a sensitivity that sets you apart. Imagine now that every moment of unease carried meaning, that each restless night, every sudden tear, and the inexplicable tug at your heart were threads in a tapestry woven long before you arrived. In the same way Hebrew storytellers spoke of God's hidden hand guiding Israel's exodus, an unseen force has been weaving your path. Your restless heart has been guided by patterns you couldn't see, but were always real, pointing you toward a purpose that reaches beyond any map you could draw. Look back on the past few weeks. The repeated number that flickered on your clock at 3:33, the uncanny déjà vu when you passed a stranger who felt strangely familiar, the sudden warmth in your chest before you spoke a hard truth. These are not coincidences but signposts, awakening you to a reality where every sensation pulses with intention. They drift through your days like secret messages carried on a breeze, waiting for you to lean in and listen. Trust what you have always doubted, that quiet whisper in your gut, the flash of an answer before you even ask the question. These have been your loyal guides. Much like the woman in Luke 8 verse 46 who felt power leave her with a single touch, your own body remembers the currency of the Spirit, and that memory has never failed you. Now, as you begin to breathe in alignment, you realize those internal nudges were not illusions but confirmations of an inner compass finally coming into focus. As you awaken further, you discover that this journey is less about becoming someone new and more about remembering who you have always been. Beneath the layers of doubt and the masks you wore to fit in lies an archetype older than time. In Exodus 34 verse 29, Moses' face shone because he carried a mirror of divine light. Similarly, the true you reflects an original pattern, an echo of creation itself, that waits only for your consent to shine. And now comes your first activation. An invitation to honor your sensitivity, to embrace the way your heart scripts meaning in silence, and to stand in the power of your own knowing. This step is not a battle cry but a soft gathering of strength. Every time you pause to acknowledge a flutter in your spirit or give thanks for a stray moment of insight, you fan the flame of your awakening, claiming the authority that your soul has carried since birth. You arrived here for a reason. The stirrings you feel are proof that your spirit has called you to this moment, and that call will not be silenced. Comment recognized if you have felt that spark. As you lean into this revelation, be ready for the next unveiling, where you will learn how those who encounter your light respond before you speak, and why their fear is the mirror of your power. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Fear carved by your presence. Have you ever felt a sudden chill settle in a room the moment you walked through the door, as though the very walls themselves were bracing for your arrival? In the quiet aftermath of that entrance, you sensed that something unseen had shifted, an undercurrent of tension rippling through the air. It was as if your presence had tripped a hidden wire, unleashing an uneasy vibration that left you startled and unsure. That subtle heaviness wasn't your imagination. It was the first whisper of a pattern that would emerge over and over again, reminding you that there was a force working against the brightness of your spirit long before you fully understood your own light. Beneath that unease lived an ache deeper than social discomfort, a relentless pressure that squeezed your heart in moments when you simply expected kindness. You remember the sting of sarcastic remarks delivered with a cruel smile, the way eyes darted away when you spoke your mind, and the familiar knot in your throat when invited conversations suddenly went silent. These moments weren't just awkward encounters. They carried the weight of rejection and shame, whispering that you were too sensitive, too loud, or too strange. Every slight, every cold shoulder drew a web of self-doubt around you, convincing you that your instincts were illusions and your feelings mere burdens. Yet this barrage of invisible resistance was no random cruelty. Behind the scenes, unseen currents were at work, systems of judgment and fear, energies that recoiled when faced with the radiance of someone destined for more. In the ancient wilderness of Israel, God led his people through trials to strip away their old selves, preparing them for a promised land. Your own journey through rejection and sabotage echoes that sacred pattern of exile and refinement. What felt like punishment was really a crucible, shaping you to stand with unwavering faith in the face of every obstacle. Now, look back on the times when doors literally slammed shut on your hopes, when careers stalled, friendships dissolved, or romantic love evaporated without explanation. Recall the last-minute cancellations that left you stranded or the whispers behind closed office doors that severed your confidence. These recurring betrayals formed a pattern you missed while you were tangled in the moment, but seen now, they illuminate a deliberate design. Light a candle in that darkness and watch the shapes of past pain transform into guiding markers, pointing you toward the deeper truth of your calling. Even more, you have felt the tangible weight of spiritual resistance. The air thick with a fog you couldn't clear, the sense of silent watchers lurking just out of sight, and the freeze-frame moments when your heart pulsed with warning. At times, you've stood in sacred spaces, prayer groups, meditation circles, creative workshops, and felt an oppressive energy pressing down on the altar of your soul. It wasn't mere coincidence that you experienced drains in those environments, as though invisible clamps were squeezing your light until it flickered. Recognizing this distortion is the moment when spiritual pressure becomes visible, a sign that your awakening cannot go unnoticed. In response to these forces, you might have recoiled into yourself, adopting the armor of people-pleasing, shrinking to fit expectations, or retreating into the false comfort of anonymity. You remember the nights you lay awake rehearsing apologies for being too intense, the mornings you stared in the mirror, chastising yourself for daring to feel too much. The temptation to give up, to silence your inner voice so the world would leave you in peace, was almost irresistible. Yet each time you considered surrendering, a flicker of defiance rose within you, reminding you that your sensitivity is your gift, not your flaw. And now, in this very moment, you begin to reclaim what was forcefully stripped from you. The resistance you've faced becomes your confirmation, not your condemnation. Each closed door, each harsh word, and each shadowed glance are proof of your power, echoing back your call to stand firm. You are no longer the frightened soul hiding in plain sight. You are the one who steps forward unbowed, to claim the authority that has always been yours. Feel the surge of remembrance as you place your hand over your heart and acknowledge the ancient strength pulsing beneath your skin. You were opposed because you are unstoppable. The more they tried to block your path, the more your purpose crystallized. Now, let this truth settle deep into your bones. You are carved from light that resistance cannot shatter. Comment empowered if you recognize the force that tried to dim you, and prepare yourself for the next revelation, where you will learn how your spirit speaks louder than any barrier, and why every obstacle is the herald of a greater power awaiting your command. And to every soul who's supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here when silence speaks truth. Have you ever felt a moment when the world seemed to hush itself, as if every wind and whisper held its breath just to listen to the quiet that radiates from your soul? In that suspended space, you realize that your silence is alive, that it pulses with intention, conviction, and an unspoken declaration of self. It is not merely the absence of sound, but a profound presence. In this awakening, you notice a sudden clarity. The bland noise of daily life fades, and in its place emerges a sacred chamber carved by your stillness. This is the dawning of a new vision, where the unspoken words between your heartbeat and the world speak louder than any voice could articulate. There was a time when you questioned every pause, every unvoiced thought, wondering if your silence was a flaw or a failure. You felt the weight of unasked questions pressing on your chest, the sting of being ignored when you held back, or the guilt of speaking your truth only to be dismissed. Perhaps you've replayed interactions in your mind, regretting the words left unsaid or cringing at the ones you uttered. That restless churning inside wasn't confusion. It was the friction between your true self and the world's expectation for you to conform, to fill the quiet with safe, sanitized speech. Now, in this moment of revelation, you understand that those emotional tremors were forging an inner sanctuary where your genuine power could take root. Look deeper, and you see that every symbol, every fleeting image that danced through your dreams was a coded message sent to guide you. In ancient texts, the Book of Revelation speaks of scrolls sealed with 7 sigils, each revealing a fragment of divine truth when unrolled. Your life has been a tapestry of similar sigils, synchronicities, numbers on clocks, repeated phrases in passing conversations that once felt random but now align like stars in a constellation. You begin to decipher the geometry of your own story, the way a random song lyric captures your unspoken yearning, or how a passing stranger's glance reflects a mirror you never recognized. Reality itself is a manuscript written in symbols for your eyes alone. Inside you, subtle yet undeniable shifts are taking place. Your intuition, once timid and shy, now flares like a torch in your mind, illuminating hidden paths and whispered warnings. You notice your boundaries rising. No longer do you tolerate conversations that drain you or environments that dim your flame. Instead, you sense a magnetic pull toward places and people that resonate with your true frequency. Perhaps you experience a sudden tightening in your solar plexus when someone speaks untruth, or a warm glow when a situation aligns with your deeper purpose. These signs are not hypothetical. They are proof of a living network of spiritual sensors awakening in your being. As your inner world reconfigures, you look outward and see an astonishing mirror effect. Strangers greet you with a softened gaze, doors you once found locked begin to swing open, and opportunities appear like lanterns marking your path. Simultaneously, the old resistances, skeptical peers, bureaucratic roadblocks, emotional roadblocks in relationships, rise and fall with a rhythm that echoes your internal shifts. It is as though a cosmic architect has begun adjusting the scaffolding around you, ensuring that every supportive beam and every temporary obstacle serves the grand design of your unfolding destiny. You stand at the center, both the catalyst and the witness. In the depths of this transformation, you recall a dream you had as a child, a tapestry of shifting shapes and voices in an ancient hall, where a hooded figure handed you a key carved from starlight. At the time, the dream felt beautiful but meaningless. Now you understand it encoded your own primordial memory, that you once held the key to hidden realms, locked away by forgotten vows and worldly distractions. This reactivation of sacred memory floods you with recognition, a resonance that vibrates through your spine and lights your mind with the understanding that you are returning home to yourself. With these memories stirring, you sense destiny not as a map to be drawn, but as a melody to be remembered. You no longer ask permission to claim your space in the world. You simply step forward, guided by the silent song of your spirit. Like an ancient prophet awakened from a long slumber, you speak with the authority of one who has traversed the inner deserts and emerged bearing water for the thirsty. This is your calling, to stand in clarity, to let your silence teach, and to let your unspoken truth ripple through the world, reshaping it in your wake. Revelation is not the end of the journey, but the great invitation to embody what you have uncovered. Your silence has spoken volumes. It has called, cautioned, and consecrated every moment that led you here. Now, as you lean into this awakening, you realize that each unvoiced heartbeat has prepared you to step into a role far greater than you ever imagined. Comment revelation if you feel the codes of your life unfolding before your eyes, and share a dream, memory, or moment when your silence became your most powerful voice. As you open to these shared stories, prepare yourself for the next unveiling, where you will learn how your presence rewrites the narrative of those around you, and why the world bends to the frequency you broadcast. Embracing power without apology. Have you ever found yourself on the edge of a choice so clear it hums in your palms? Like the moment you stand before a gate that you know will never close once you step through it? In this sacred crossroads, there is no room for hesitation. You feel the weight of every lesson you've lived, every ounce of fear you've carried, pressing you toward a single question. Will you let your lamp shine, or continue hiding it beneath a basket? In Proverbs 20 verse 27, we learn that the human spirit is the lamp of the Lord, searching every hidden corner of the soul. Now, at this threshold, you realize that passivity has ended. The time has come to decide whether you will let your light cast out the shadows or allow it to fade in silence. As you look back on the seasons you spent dimming your flame for the comfort of others, you understand now that those were years of unseen training. Every moment you held back your words, silenced your laughter, or softened your gaze was preparation for this reclamation. Today, you stand in a ritual of reclaiming that which was gifted to you at birth. In the hush before dawn, imagine yourself reaching into the depths of your being and pulling back every fragment of voice, every spark of energy, every inch of presence you surrendered. Declare with clarity, I call back my power. I reclaim my throne. This season of yielding transforms into a moment of fierce, focused return. Now, feel the shape of your power as something tangible, a set of keys forged in your spirit, each one unlocking a chamber of insight, sensitivity, memory, discernment, and strength. What they once called weakness is revealed as your true signature, a fire that cannot be tamed, a scroll of wisdom written in the lines of your palms, armor that glows with divine geometry. These are not abstract gifts, but tools for the path ahead. The key of vision, the code of compassion, the sword of discernment. Embrace them as the instruments by which you will sculpt a new reality, standing tall without apology in the brilliance you were born to wield. Look now at the ground beneath your feet. The path you feared was hidden is already laid out in stones etched with your name. With each step, clarity transforms into action. You tread the road that faith has carved, guided by the pulse of your own knowing. You do not wait for direction from outside voices. Instead, you listen to the murmur of your sacred compass, letting it steer you through valleys of doubt and peaks of revelation. Every footfall is an act of creation, revealing the next stretch of your mission as you move forward. Here, on this living map, you come to understand that the journey itself is the purpose, and each step aligns you more deeply with divine design. As you lift your gaze, you realize you are not alone on this path. Around you stand a rising chorus of kindred souls, awakened and awakening, each one carrying their own lamp out of darkness. You are part of a soul tribe, a divine cluster holding space for one another, weaving together threads of collective light. The old demand to shrink for acceptance dissolves, replaced by the knowing that your brightness fuels the emergence of others. In the solidarity of this awakened alliance, you find both refuge and strength. Together, you will reshape the world by refusing to hide, each light contributing to a blazing constellation of purpose. Feel now the command of your own energy as a sacred duty rather than an act of ego. You are entrusted with a flame that must neither be scattered nor hoarded, but tended with devotion and discernment. Set boundaries that honor your power, choose engagements that uplift your spirit, and devote yourself to the rituals that nourish your core. Imagine a ceremony of each sunrise, where you stand before the mirror of your reflection and vow to guard your light against every shade of fear or doubt. In this act of stewardship, you become the keeper of your own divinity, entrusted with the care of a force that can transform worlds. Everything you have felt, feared, and survived has led you to this moment of sovereign emergence. Hear the echo of ancient prophecy resonating in your bones. The time of awakening is now, and you are ready. No longer does anyone else's timetable dictate your steps. Your heart's drumbeat aligns with cosmic rhythm. The barriers that once stood in your way now serve as stepping stones, and you recognize that every struggle refined you. You stand poised on the brink of all that you were destined to become, unyielding, unwavering, undeniably powerful. This is your summons to embodiment, to live each day as the living testament of your own truth. Comment power if you stand ready to shine without apology, and share a moment when you chose to let your flame burn bright. Let your stories weave together in this space, forging a tapestry of authentic voices and collective courage. And as you share, prepare yourself for the next revelation, a deeper unveiling of how your presence shapes the destiny of those around you, and why the world must bend to the frequency you now wield. Have you ever felt the hush of dawn before the world stirs, when the very air seems to lean in and listen? In that sacred silence, your spirit hums with an ancient resonance, reminding you that this moment is not merely the start of another day, but the threshold of a destiny you've carried for lifetimes. The morning light casts long shadows, yet within those shadows lies the map of your own unfolding. Each golden ray illuminates a fragment of your truth, inviting you to step into the brilliance that awaits beyond doubt and fear. Embrace this quiet awakening, for it is your soul's invitation to remember the purpose etched into your bones. A distant echo drifts through your memory, as if you once walked ancient halls lined with pillars of light, whispering secrets of creation into your ear. That echo stirs now in your heart, reminding you that the codes you deciphered, the numbers, symbols, and dreams, were never random. They belong to a cosmic script that connects every heartbeat to the pulse of the universe. In Ezekiel 1 verse 14, the living creatures moved as flashes of lightning, guided by divine rhythm. Likewise, your inner compass has always keyed into a sacred pattern, urging you to move in harmony with forces far greater than any map drawn by human hands. Can you recall the weight of a silent prayer, offered in the sanctuary of your own thoughts, when tears fell like rain onto your unanswered questions? That prayer was not lost. It was received by the unseen architects who weave destiny from the threads of longing. Your deepest yearnings formed the blueprint of your call. You felt unseen hands guiding each step, nurturing your courage, even when the world pressed you into corners of doubt. The journey may have felt solitary, but every tear you shed watered the seeds of your emergence, preparing you to stand tall in the light of your own revelation. Close your eyes and remember the taste of tears mixed with determination, the resolve to keep moving when every voice around you said you should stop. This alchemy of sorrow and strength forged an inner temple where your faith resides. In Habakkuk 3 verse 19, we learn that the Lord's strength makes our feet like deer's, enabling us to tread heights with unwavering sure-footedness. That sacred fortitude lives in you now, ready to guide your ascent beyond every trial. Let your steps echo with the confidence of one who knows that no challenge is greater than the power animating your spirit. In the hollow of midday, when shadows grow shortest, your inner light burns with unmistakable clarity. It radiates outward, not as a display of vanity, but as a beacon for those who wander in doubt. Your presence becomes a lighthouse in the fog of uncertainty for others searching for meaning. When you move through the world anchored in truth, you offer permission for others to do the same. Your life is a living testament that when one lamp refuses to be hidden, it lights countless others. Stand fully in this revelation, letting your light draw kindred souls toward collective awakening. A memory surfaces of an oasis discovered in the desert of your own despair, a single blade of grass breaking through cracked earth in defiance of the odds. That blade was you, a symbol of relentless hope. Today, you carry that same spark, nourished by every hardship overcome. The world may still hurl doubts at your feet, but you have learned to transform each stone into fuel for your inner fire. In this alchemical process, your wounds become wisdom and your scars map the path of your resilience. Walk forward now as both survivor and sovereign, guided by the compass of your own awakened heart. As dusk deepens and the horizon blazes with color, you feel the pulse of collective intention rising across the earth. Others, fully awake, partially stirring, or still slumbering, are beginning their own voyages of remembrance. You are not alone in the silent halls of transformation. You are part of a living tapestry of seekers and seers. Each of you carries a strand of divine light, woven together into a pattern that will reshape reality. Know that your mission resonates in every corner of this vast web, and that your footsteps stir the course of history. Finally, hear this whispered promise carried on the evening breeze. The journey you have embarked upon is both revelation and activation. The truths you have uncovered are not relics of the past, but living sparks meant to ignite action. Now is the hour to embody every insight, every symbol decoded, and every boundary set in sacred command. Your power is the hinge upon which tomorrow swings. Comment alignment if you feel the pulse of this cosmic summons, and share a moment when you sense the world shift beneath your feet. As your stories intertwine, prepare for the next unveiling, where the call to community becomes the catalyst for collective transformation, and our united light transcends every shadow. In a dream, you stand on a windswept cliff as dusk bathes the sky in molten gold and violet. Beneath your feet, the earth hums with the pulse of collective intention, each heartbeat a call to awakening. You sense that across every time zone, in city streets and mountain villages, souls are stirring from slumber, drawn by a single silent summons. Some have already risen and scented the horizon with expectancy. Others still linger in half-conscious reflection, feeling the tremor of destiny beneath their eyelids. In that vision, you realize you are neither solitary nor separate. You are a vital chord in a grand symphony of seekers and seers, each playing a note that resonates through unseen realms. When you awake, the afterimage of that dream lingers in your veins, reminding you that your footsteps are not your own but part of a greater pilgrimage shaping the future of every living thing. A vision materializes in the embers of dying daylight, a vast spiderweb spun of silver light stretching across continents. Each filament holds a strand of divine radiance, your radiance, intersecting with that of others in patterns too beautiful to name. You perceive that every act of service, every moment of surrendered fear, and each breath offered in prayer anchors a node in this living network. The web vibrates with the gentle tremor of intention, growing more radiant with every soul who remembers their purpose. Even in the bustle of an ordinary workday, this unseen tapestry expands as you choose kindness over apathy and truth over convenience. In this unfolding tableau, your mission is not cloistered in chapel halls, but woven into the fabric of global consciousness, pulling at the threads of history to rewrite what was thought immutable. A symbol rises before your mind's eye, an ancient tree whose roots delve into the earth's molten core, while its branches cradle the first stars. Its trunk bears scars from storms long past, yet it stands unwavering, nourished by the fusion of darkness and light. That tree is your own mythic spine, the embodiment of resilience born from collective support. While solitary efforts might falter in isolation, this tree thrives through the interdependence of trunk and twig, leaf and root. You have felt that strength in moments when encouragement from another galvanized your faith, or when a shared silence became a fortress against despair. As dusk deepens around you, remember that your personal sacrifices and triumphs are ringed together like growth rings in that tree's heartwood, each layer reinforcing the whole against every gale. You have always been more than they could see. Your spirit has spoken, carried, and revealed what words could never hold. Now is the time to own your role in this grand design. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment "I am chosen" to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. For full prophetic revelations daily, join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the super thanks button to support the mission. Every super thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Walk in your truth, and let no shadow dim your flame.